In this complete travel guide, I'll explain everything you need to know about visiting Vienna. I'll show you the best attractions, how to get around the city using public transport, getting to and from the airport, the best places to eat, what to avoid, how to see some famous dead people and getting drunk around Christmas-themed things, and how to have the most amazing time in the coolest cultural capital city in all of Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to world-famous Vienna, home to the most gorgeous architecture, the spiritual home of classical music and opera, and one of the most unique places for food and museums. It's definitely a city that I want you to visit once in your life. But when you have a look at a map of Vienna, you'll realise that it's quite a massive city. In my opinion, it's basically the size of London, and you'll definitely need public transport to get around the place. The main attractions you want to visit are located in the Innenstadt area, which is the Old Town. There's plenty of other iconic things to do outside of the Old Town, but this is where I want you to mainly focus your attention on, especially if you're here for a short period of time. Getting around the city and getting to and from the airport is incredibly easy. I'll explain in greater detail towards the end of the video, but in short, it's as easy as buying a ticket from a machine and riding the damn thing. I'll also tell you if it's worth buying the Vienna Pass, which is an all-inclusive ticket that will allow you free admission to most of the city's attractions. Now that you're here, let me show you the most famous attraction in Vienna, located right in the middle of the Old Town. St. Stephen's Cathedral. Built in 1578, St. Stephen's Cathedral is visible from miles away. At 136 metres in height, it's the tallest church in all of Austria, and from every angle, it's gorgeous. And on the inside, it's an absolute masterpiece of Gothic architecture, and you really do feel that this is one of the grand cathedrals of the world. Whilst it is technically free to go inside, you're only allowed into the back section of the cathedral. They cage off the rest of it, and this is where you'll find the crowds of tourists. If you want to explore the cathedral and get up and close to look at what's inside, I highly recommend that you buy the all-inclusive ticket. This includes access to the main part of the cathedral, the two towers, the crypt, and a few of their museums. Bye bye tourists, enjoy being stuck behind that cage. You get to explore the inner part of the cathedral, and I particularly like the intricate stone carvings that you'll find on the walls, the pulpits, the giant tombs, the medieval artwork, the spectacular organ, the altar, which is super scary in my opinion, and the many famous statues around the cathedral. It's hauntingly beautiful in an old-world Gothic kind of way. If you're stingy, you could probably sneak in at this far barrier right here and nobody would probably notice. But don't be a douchebag, pay for your tickets and I guarantee you'll have fun here. The ticket also allows you access to the underground catacombs, and boy, there's a hell of a lot of dead bodies down here. It's the final resting place for the previous archbishops, and it's a graveyard for thousands of people. You also get access to the north and south towers of the cathedral. The south tower has 360-degree views around the city of Vienna. However, it's a hell of a climb up a long and narrow spiral staircase, and those with mobility or health issues should not do this, because it is quite painful. But the views from the top are definitely worth the pain if you can manage. The North Tower, on the other hand, has a lift that will take you to the top, where you'll get some stunning views of St. Stephen's jazzy roof. It's pretty cool actually. I love the patterns they've got up here. Whilst the views aren't as good as on the South Tower, it's definitely an easier way of seeing things up high, even though you'll be in a massive queue to get back down. The all-inclusive ticket also gives you access to the Cathedral Museum, which was okay if you like church relics, crucifixes and that sort of thing. Wow, there's some strange stuff inside here. And it also gives you access to the Treasury, which I found to be a lot more interesting, because you get to see some of the treasures that the church owns, some of which are very famous. I thought €25 for all of this was good value for money, but even if you don't want to spend a single penny, I highly recommend that you visit St. Stephen's once during the day and once during the evening, because the atmosphere completely changes at night. As you can tell from the footage, I've shot this at Christmas, and outside of St. Stephen's Cathedral is a mini Christmas market. A cool place to do a little bit of shopping and copious amounts of alcohol drinking. It's all nice and festive. I'll mention more about the amazing Christmas markets later in the video, as they are pretty immense. Whilst you're around here, you'll find the main shopping street here in Vienna. It's got the shops that you'd typically find at home, all decked out in festive lights of course. It's a really fun city to explore at night, with a safe, laid-back atmosphere, horse-drawn carriages, and there's plenty to see and do. But if you have time, I recommend that you visit the Sachel department store. Not necessarily to do any shopping, although you could, it's very nice in here. But the biggest draw is the sky roof garden on the top floor, which you can access for free. You get some stunning views over the city and of St. Stephen's Cathedral across the way. Go west of the cathedral, past St. Peter's Church. That's also cool to go inside, by the way, especially if St. Stephen's is too busy, and you'll eventually find the Parliament of Austria. It's a public building. You can go in for free so long as you have a photo ID on you, but they do free guided tours around the Parliament building if you're interested, which you have to pre-book on the website and also provide a photo ID. Right next to it is this impressive building right here, City Hall. It's a beautiful building from the outside, and it really looks stunning at night. You can do tours of City Hall on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 1 PM. Tickets are available from 8 AM for that day only. But the biggest draw of City Hall, especially at this time of the year, is the world-famous Christmas markets. During December, the entire city turns into a Christmas megatown, and there are Christmas markets everywhere throughout Vienna. The biggest and the best is right outside City Hall. I have to say that I've been to Christmas markets all throughout Europe, and in general, once you've been to one Christmas market, you've technically been to them all. But the ones here in Vienna are definitely something special. I can't quite describe why exactly, but the gorgeous surroundings definitely help, and everyone seems to be incredibly friendly here. It's a really fun atmosphere, and there's a lot more to do than just eating, drinking and shopping. You've got this winter wonderland full of lights and decorated trees, giant snowmen, and lots of fantastic photo opportunities everywhere. They've turned this forest into a very long ice skating rink. That's pretty cool. And overall, if you're not feeling the Christmas spirit right now, you will after coming here. It's a superb place to hang around with friends and chill out. And if you've only got time to do one Christmas market in the city, make it the one outside of City Hall. Just north of City Hall, you'll find the second of the three famous churches in Vienna, the Votive Church. It's an incredibly imposing building from the outside, and from the inside, it's even more so. It's a lot quieter in here than at St. Stephen's Cathedral, so if you do like your Gothic churches a little bit more silent, visit the Votive Church. South of City Hall, you'll come across two of the most famous museums in the city. The first is the Natural History Museum. The building itself is stunning, and you'd pay an admission fee just to see the interior of this place. You could easily confuse this with a royal palace, but instead of regal things, there's a bunch of dead animals on display. As with most natural history museums that you've probably already been to, it has your selection of animals in glass cases, dinosaur bones, creepy crawlies, my next door neighbour, and a big old pile of rocks. It's very entertaining for the kids, and there's interactive displays to keep you engaged. The building on the opposite side is the Art History Museum. This is the collection of the Imperial family, and is worth a few hours of your time if you're into classical art or historical artifacts. Once again, it's really gorgeous inside. I'd honestly pay just to see this bit. As this is one of the city's main art galleries, it definitely doesn't disappoint. The interior is simply awe-inspiring. And if you're into art, you'll recognise some of the most famous paintings and famous artists whose work is on display in here. It's also a place to look at Roman sculptures, Egyptian mummies and tombs, and stunning treasures from around the world. In the middle of these two museums, you'll find Maria Theresien Platz, a public square with a giant monument that's usually a very nice place to hang around. At this time of the year, it's a Christmas market, so time to eat unhealthy food and get drunk on mulled wine for the fourth time today. Whilst we're talking about museums, Vienna famously has over 100 of them. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but what I will say is that to maximise your time here in Vienna, I recommend that you only visit the museums that you're 100% interested in. That said, there's an actual district of museums that you can go to that's right next door. This is the Museum Quarter, an entire complex of museums that range from modern art to historical theatre. In my opinion, I found all of these to be quite terrible. The only one that really stands out is the Leopold Museum, which had some very suggestive art on display, but I'll be brutally honest, there are much better museums around the city that are more worth your hard-earned cash than anything here. If you're not into museums, across the street you'll find one of the biggest palaces in all of Austria. Hofburg Palace. It's the former Imperial palace of the Hafsburg dynasty. It was built in the 13th century, and boy does it look the part. These days, it's split up into several sections, each of which has its own historical museum or event space. There's plenty to choose from, but my recommendation is to do the House of Hafsburg tour, which I found to be very interesting. You follow the interactive directions on the floor that syncs with your audio guide to learn all about the history of the most famous dynasty in Austria. I particularly like the Hall of Armour, the historical artefacts, and these guys jousting to the death. You'll get to see the beautiful interior and the musical instruments owned by the Habsburg family. Here's a 6-year-old girl that can play better piano than me. Around the corner is the Imperial Treasury of Austria. You'll find the royal crowns, orbs and sceptres of the former kings and queens of the country, a whole bunch of royal regalia, and the Austrian crown jewels themselves. So, if you fancy being rich, consider stealing from here. I'm joking, of course. Please don't do that. One place you can't steal from, unless you're sick and twisted, is the Imperial Crypt. This is the final resting place of the former royals of the past. The coffins are quite grandiose, and it's incredible how many of them are here in this crypt. Over 150 royals are buried here. The most famous ones are Empress Maria Theresia, Emperor Franz Joseph, and Empress Elizabeth, affectionately known as Empress Sisi. Kinda nice in a macabre kind of way. Speaking of which, the most popular museum around Hofburg Palace is the Sisi Museum. Dedicated to the life of Empress Elizabeth, you get to see her stunning clothes and dresses, her amazing jewellery, where she lived, how she lived, where she ate, and if you're a fan of European history, you'll love it in here. It's kind of like Buckingham Palace in terms of its splendour, and you won't be disappointed with a tour here. You will need to book a time slot, as this is an incredibly popular attraction. Around here, you'll also find the National Library. If you're a fan of old libraries, this is probably one of the grandest libraries you'll ever step foot in. It's definitely worth a look. The ceiling looks like something from the Sistine Chapel, and you can take many great photos and videos in here. Particularly if you like old books and furniture, this is a very picturesque library indeed. Literally 1 block away, you'll find the Albertina Museum. Another one of the main art galleries here in Vienna. There's a lot of art here from very established artists such as Pablo Picasso, Edvard Munch, and even though it's a cool art gallery with lots of works from lots of famous artists, my favourite ones tend to be from the people you've never heard of. For example, Robert Longo, who drew all of these photorealistic images from just charcoal. Pretty incredible. As mentioned in the introduction, Vienna is the spiritual home of classical music, and there's no shortage of places where you can take in a night of culture. All over the city, there are places that will sell you dinner and a show in one of the famous theatres or concert halls, whether it's the Burg Theatre, the Volkstheater, the Vienna Music Society, or the Vienna Concert Hall. All of these are impressive locations where you can take in a night of cultural entertainment. But there's one place that's more famous than all the others combined. The Vienna State Opera House. One of the most famous opera houses in the world, this is the spiritual home of classical music. And because it's so world famous, they've literally got a different show every single night. Tickets are sold out months in advance, but if you're here at the last minute, you can queue for standing room only tickets that they release a few hours before the performance starts. That's probably the cheapest way you can get a ticket if you didn't book in advance. If you can't get tickets to a show, be sure to take a tour of the Opera House instead. It's one of the grandest opera houses that you'll ever see in your life. The tour will take you behind the scenes of how they transform it from one show to another, exactly like what you see in the video. There are screens built into the seats with subtitles in your language, that's fancy, and the views from everywhere are immense. Like most opera houses, it's superbly decorated, and you can feel the immense history in here. You'll get to experience the best seats in the house. It's here apparently, and it's simply beautiful. If you can't get tickets, or if you want to go on a tour, please book well in advance, as this is the most popular entertainment venue in the city. Whilst we're talking about classical music actually, there are many classical music attractions in Vienna, and there's two that I recommend. Firstly, the House of Musik. This is where you can learn all about the history of music, why Vienna specifically is the classical music capital of the world, and why Austria seems to create so many world-famous composers. It's an interactive exhibit. With musical stairs, you can create your own music in weird and wonderful ways, and it's at this place that you can actually conduct the Vienna Symphony Orchestra yourself. To be honest, it's a lot more difficult than you think. However, the 6-year-old girl seems to be finding it easy. Another infant that's humiliated me on this trip. The second classical music attraction I recommend is Mythos Mozart. It's a super modern interactive display highlighting the life and death of Mozart. It's very cool in a sort of technological kind of way. And hey, that's me on Mozart's body. It kind of drones on a little bit, but it's quite a visceral experience, especially the epilepsy-inducing floor-to-ceiling displays. It's definitely an experience even if you're not a fan of classical music. Towards the south of the old town, you'll find the Vienna Museum. One of the free museums here in the city of Vienna, it highlights the evolving history of the city through art, sculptures, carriages, etc. It's a very varied museum, and there's lots to see in here. Given that it's free, it's definitely worth at least 30 minutes of your time. But climb up the roof terrace, where you'll see the next attraction on our list. St. Charles Church. The third of the 3 most important churches in the city, it definitely doesn't disappoint. If you pay the entry fee at the side of the church, you'll get access to the rooftop, and you get stunning views of the square directly outside. Currently, there's a Christmas market there, and it's super awesome, especially at night. Really beautifully lit, especially with the church in the background. And inside, it's actually very, very nice. It's very similar to the Marmorkirken that I visited in Copenhagen, and if you do like churches, this is definitely one to check out. Lavishly decorated throughout, even with this strange light hanging from the ceiling. Wait, is that a statue of Hugh Laurie? But if you don't want to pay to go inside, that's okay. Just wait until there's a service and then walk through the front door for free. Now at this point, you're probably getting quite hungry. Fortunately for you, Vienna is famous for its food. And there's 3 things I want you to try before you leave the city. The first is Wienerschnitzel. This is breaded pork that's been deep fried. The most iconic place to eat that is at a place called Fiegelmüller, which is right here on the map. The second is something called Kaiserkrainer. which is basically sausage made with cheese chunks inside. When it's hot, it's all melty and absolutely delicious. I'm definitely a fan of that. You can find Kaiserkrainer at stands everywhere around the city, so they're not particularly hard to find. The third is a world-famous cake called Sachertorte, a chocolate cake made with apricot jam, served with whipped cream, and the most amazing chocolate glaze that you've ever had. There's 2 places in the city that have claimed to have invented it. The first is Hotel Sacher, directly opposite the Opera House. It's a very fancy hotel, and the cafe is very Viennese indeed. They claim to be the original purveyors of Sachertorte, hence the name, and usually the queues are down the street to eat here. I actually came here first thing in the morning, so that's why it's uncharacteristically quiet right now, but the Sachertorte they serve here is pretty damn amazing. Very, very chocolatey, and it's one of the nicest cakes I've ever had. And the service was also first class. The second place I recommend, if you can get in and not get stuck in a long queue, is its arch rival, Café Demel, which you'll find opposite Hofburg Palace. Inside, you can see how they make their exquisite cakes and pastries, have a browse at their shop so that you can take some of them home with you, before sitting down and eating. They also claim to have invented Sachertorte, and the Café Demel version was definitely a lot fruitier than the one at Hotel Sacher. But overall, these 2 places are the best place to try this magnificent cake. So which one is better? Well, I'll be brutally honest, it's a tie. They're literally 50-50. I was very happy with both of them. But if you prefer a more chocolatey taste to your chocolate cake, go to Hotel Sacher, and if you prefer a sweeter, fruitier taste, go to Café Demel. Because these places are so iconic, they're also quite expensive. And if you do want to try Sachertorte at not so steep prices, find any AIDA cafe and try it there. You can find these coffee shops everywhere throughout the city, and you really can't miss them because they're decorated in bright pink. But it offers a cheaper alternative if you want coffee, pastries and cake. Whilst we're talking about coffee actually, Vienna is also known for its coffee culture. There are many iconic cafes dotted around Vienna. I highly recommend that you try the Café Melange. Looks like a cappuccino, but it's a lot nicer. And the most famous coffee house in the city is Café Central. It's gorgeous on the inside, but I actually never ate here. I tried 3 different times to get in, and every time the queues were way out of the door. If you do want to visit any of the iconic places that I've mentioned, I urge you to make a reservation, as it will save you from having to wait outside in the cold for a very, very long time. Is there a place I can try all of this food without going to different places across the city? Yes, there is, and it's this place right here called Naschmarkt. It's basically an outdoor foodie market, where you can find everything from fresh fruit, giant-sized seafood, pastries, sausages, meats, nuts, macaroons, or anything else that you might want to stuff your mouth with. If you're a foodie, you can't go wrong here. You'll find lots of cafes and lots of places to try food that's bigger than your face. I know that was a little long-winded, but that's basically everywhere of note in the Innenstadt area of Vienna. But there's more attractions that are dotted outside of the old town that you may require public transport to visit. The first is Belvedere Palace. This is actually 2 Baroque palaces that are at least 800 years old. Upper Belvedere Palace is currently home to a giant art gallery, and the most famous painting in the city is located here. It's none other than The Kiss by Austrian painter Gustav Klimt. This masterpiece is painted with real gold leaf, and it definitely comes as advertised. It's by far the most popular painting here in Vienna. And the other painting that you'll probably recognise is Napoleon on Horseback by Jacques-Louis David. There's plenty of art that will keep you entertained, and the building itself is stunning too, so it's worth it just to experience all of this. How's my impression of this guy? Pretty good, huh? The other building, Lower Belvedere, is again a lovely building inside, but the art was quite mediocre, especially compared to the first one, so only see this if you're an art aficionado. The gardens and grounds are stunning, and in theory, if you didn't want to go inside either of the buildings, you can experience all of this for free. Come during the summertime, because it'll look a lot better with the flowers growing and the water fountains actually working, not like right now. It's actually quite a magical way to spend an entire afternoon. Currently outside of Belvedere Palace, you've guessed it, there's a Christmas market. Pretty cool that they put this here, it's a nice intimate atmosphere. The other palace that you'll find outside of the old town is one of the most popular attractions in Austria. This is Schonbrunn Palace, the grandest palace in all of Vienna. This was the summer residence of the royal family, and it certainly is impressive from the outside. On the inside, once you've navigated the queues, it's as you'd imagine from a spectacular royal palace. Lots of chandeliers, beautifully decorated rooms, lots of art on the walls, etc. But I'll be honest, I was actually quite disappointed with this. You have to pay for the VIP tour of all the 20 plus staterooms to make it worthwhile. If you pay for just basic admission like I did, you only have access to about 6 rooms, and you don't get to see all that much. It seemed like a massive money grab to me, and I'm not down with that. The exterior and the surrounding palace gardens, however, are completely free of charge. It's definitely worth walking around, especially during the summertime. It's quite a lovely green space to kill off an hour or two, especially if you like manicured gardens, gorgeous flowers, and stuff like that. I actually came back at night to experience the Christmas markets here, and I actually preferred that to going inside the palace itself. I really love the warm welcome and the atmosphere of the place, with the backdrop of the palace glowing in gold. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than the interior, that's for sure. It's in this park space where you'll find Schonbrunn Zoo. So if you do like animals, but you don't want to get eaten alive by them, come visit this zoo. They've got plenty of animals, it's great entertainment for the kids, and I particularly like the sea lion shows, the polar bears, the tigers, and whilst I don't agree with zoos as a concept, this one was pretty cool. Even though it was very quiet and in the middle of winter, I think this little guy's asleep, it's still worth a visit. Nearby, you'll find the Palm House and the Desert House. Basically, big giant greenhouses full of lovely flowers that you can see growing all year round. It's pretty warm in here, and it resembles a rainforest or a jungle in some places, but don't let that put you off. For a few euros, this is worth about 30 minutes of your time. It's here that you'll also find the Imperial Carriage Museum. Very similar to the Royal Mews at Buckingham Palace, it has all of the royal carriages that have been used by the royal family. And I actually found this a lot more interesting than Schonbrunn Palace itself. But you can be the judge on that one. Wait, what's this doing here? One of my favourite museums here in Vienna is only a few streets away. This is the Technology Museum. If you're into technology, transport and machines, like planes, trains, automobiles, musical instruments, it's all very interactive. You could spend a few hours in front of a TV camera, flying a plane, driving a train, and physically exploring things. It's a lot more engaging than some of the other museums I've been to here in Vienna. If you're into sports, particularly football, there's 3 main stadiums that you can visit. The first is Allianz Stadium, home to professional side Rapid Vienna, and the Generali Arena, home to their arch rivals Austria Vienna. The Ernst Happel Stadium is the largest stadium in the country, where you'll find the Austrian national football team. If there's any game going on, buy tickets and experience the thrilling atmosphere. But let's say you're not into sports. Well, there's a giant amusement park to the north of the old town. This is Prater. As you can imagine from an amusement park, it has all the typical funfair rides that you'd expect. Bumper cars, fun houses, rides that try and snap your neck with copious amounts of G-forces, you know, the usual. It's free to go inside, and if you do want to go on a ride, you just have to pay for each one separately, which I think is the best way. The most famous ride here is the giant Ferris wheel. one of the oldest Ferris wheels in the world, is the venue for a lot of famous TV shows and movies. I came here at night to experience all the night city lights, but if I'm being totally honest, you're better off going during the day when it's nice weather outside, as you'll be able to see more. Speaking of nice weather, if it is a gorgeous day, I urge you to go north to Danube Tower. This is the transmission tower that overlooks the city. Pay your entry fee and take the lift to the top, where you get 360-degree views of the entire city of Vienna. Again, I came here at night because I like looking at city lights, but I do recommend that you come here during the day or at sunset. You can also eat here, and it will provide you a lovely dining and viewing experience. Now, I'm here during wintertime, but if you come during the summer months, you might run into ball season, where the entire city turns into a giant ball. You'll find many attractions hosting this sort of thing, and it's incredibly fun to be a part of. If I didn't suck at dancing so much, I would probably love it here. Hopefully, if you're visiting in summertime, you'll get dressed to the nines and do this yourself at one of these amazing venues. I think you'll agree, I've suggested quite a lot of things that you can do in this video. But I've also left out quite a lot, mainly because I thought they were awful. For example, many travel guides will tell you to go to Hundertwasser House. It looks like a Gaudi-esque collection of colourful buildings. It's very messy on the outside, and on the inside, whilst it is very trippy, I found it to be an incredibly tacky tourist trap. So, your choice if you want to visit here. Mozart's house, you can actually visit where Mozart used to live, which contains a whole load of nothing. I found it incredibly boring, but you might find it a lot more interesting than I did. Also avoid the Albertina Modern, which is a modern art museum, Belvedere 21, another modern art museum, the Papyrus Museum, why on earth did I go in this? And the Military History Museum, that was okay, but you really have to be into war to appreciate all that stuff. Overall guys, whether you're here for the Christmas markets, ball season, or you just want to experience museums, art, culture, classical music, or amazing food, all in a gorgeously decorated city, then Vienna is the city right for you. Definitely add this to your bucket list and book your trip now. Okay Nin, I'm sold. What do I need to do? Well, you need to come here to Vienna, Austria. It's served by Vienna International Airport, and there are several ways to get into the city from here. Once you leave the airport, find the airport train station. The fastest method is to take something called the City Airport train. These are the big giant green trains that will take you directly from the airport to one of the main train stations in Vienna in about 16 minutes without stopping. To use this, simply find a green ticket machine, select your language, and walk through the steps to buy your ticket. Follow the signs for the City Airport train platform, you can't miss it because it's painted in bright green, get on the green train, and you'll arrive in the city centre in 16 minutes or less. It's the fastest but also the most expensive at €15 for one trip. If you don't want to spend that much, take the normal commuter train instead. These are the normal trains in red with the OBB logo on them. And to buy a ticket for that, find a red ticket machine. Select your language and buy your ticket using cash or contactless card. Once you pay for it, it'll spit you out your ticket and you literally board one of the many trains that will take you to one of the main train stations. It will make several stops on the way, and it will take about 12 minutes longer than the City Airport train. But given that it's about a third of the price, it's about €5, and it only takes 12 minutes longer to arrive, it's definitely worth the extra savings. You can also take a shuttle bus or take taxis, and I'll leave all the options on the screen here. Please pick the best option for your needs and your end destination. You'll arrive at one of several stations, but the main three are Wien Hauptbahnhof, which is Vienna Main Station, Wien Westbahnhof, which is Vienna West Station, and Wiener Mitte, which is Vienna Central Station. Now that you're in the city, you'll need to get around the place using the Vienna metro system. Whilst the map looks incredibly complicated, once you're here, you'll develop a sixth sense on how to use it. and it is actually pretty easy. Find this ticket machine at any station, select your language, and I recommend that you buy an all-inclusive pass for the duration of your stay. Once you pay for it, it will spit out this paper ticket. Before you use it for the first time, you'll need to stick it in one of these ticket validators on any of the platforms, which will print the date and time on it. There are no barriers at any station, and in theory, anyone can walk on and use it free of charge. However, ticket inspectors are everywhere, and the fines are incredibly steep. So please, if you are using public transport, buy a valid ticket and have it validated before you use it. The metro system is well organised and well signposted. Most of them are in both German and English, so you'll be fine, and the diagrams make it almost impossible to get on the wrong train, tram or bus. If you only want to see attractions in the old town, you might not need public transport, but you will be walking a lot. I highly recommend that you save your legs and use public transport, and they will get you to places a lot faster. The cost? Well, Vienna is known to be quite an expensive city, especially if you're eating out a lot, as food prices are famously high here in the Austrian capital. If you're on a tight budget, you can easily survive with visits to the supermarkets or the bakeries, and the food there is relatively affordable by comparison. Attraction prices are typical of a capital city, but if you plan on doing quite a lot of them in a short period of time, the Vienna Pass is definitely worth it. The best way to figure out if you need to buy one is make a list of the attractions you've seen in this video that you want to do. I put the prices in the bottom right hand corner. Add up all of these costs. If it costs less than a Vienna City Pass, then obviously don't buy one. If you find that you'll save a lot of money, like I did, buying a Vienna City Pass is probably worth it. You can do this in person at their office opposite the Opera House, or buy a pass online through their app. Just scan the pass at any participating attraction and they let you in. If you're looking for a place to stay, I recommend staying within Innenstadt, ideally near St. Stephen's Cathedral, the Opera House or City Hall, as it's much easier if you're staying in a place where everything is within walking distance. If you're on a budget like me, you can stay outside of the old town, and the hotel prices generally tend to be cheaper. However, you will be wasting time using the metro system to commute to and from attractions, so please bear this in mind. Is there anything else I need to know? Yes. When using any form of public transport, you manually have to let yourself in and out by pressing the button or pulling on the latch like so. If you want to eat at some of the more iconic places, like Hotel Sacher, Café Demel or Café Central, I urge you to make a reservation. Otherwise, you'll be in mile-long queues and it's not worth queuing to get in. The currency in Austria is the euro, so this makes it easy if you're coming from another European city. And whilst we're talking about money, most places prefer that you pay with cash. Because of the high transaction costs here in Austria, places that do accept credit cards will usually have a minimum spend. Carry plenty of cash with you, as the Austrians actually prefer that you pay with real money. The spoken language here is German, but most of the people I've met here speak better English than I do. So, if you're an English speaker, you'll be absolutely fine here. If you're here for a week, buying the 6-day Vienna Pass will save you a lot of money if you're planning on seeing everything. But for the love of God, please don't try and cram everything into 3 days like I did. Whilst I'm happy that I saw almost everything in the city, it's almost killed me to do so. And finally, be sure to check out my other city guides on nearby Bratislava and Budapest, both of which are a short train ride away, and you definitely want to add these cities to your own bucket list. If you have found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe. I'd love for this video guide to help as many people as possible to justify the week's worth of work in order to make the damn thing. Ask me any questions in the comment section below, tweet at me if you've got any other suggestions, and I know this was a long episode, but thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode. of Ultimate Bucket List.
Zeigt das Untermännchen die Weide aus dem Wasser.